Hello to everyone in the internet. It is currently Thursday, December 13th. I am Nathan of Washington and you are watching The Globalist. And this is the news. Trump has made an executive order aimed to help poor communities. This supplements a 2017 tax cut law instituted by Trump called Opportunity Zones, where investors can gain tax breaks for investing in troubled areas. This will basically create a new government council called the Opportunity and Revitalization Council. This kind of soft regulation is basically designed to help society while keeping government still relatively small. Because what this effectively does is it does not so much force people to do things as it encourages them to do things, strongly encourages them. I mean, come on, what investor doesn't want to get a free tax break? That's called incentivizing. He's not forcing anyone to do anything. He's just creating a system that incentivizes people. Now, this is the kind of regulation I can get behind. Alright? The point of capitalism is to create competition, to motivate people to be at their best. Alright? But not everyone can be at their best, either due to a lack of motivation or a lack of ability. And sometimes these troubled areas pop up simply because competition has left them in the dust. I mean, come on. You look at tournaments, even the second placer gets a consolation prize. Something to incentivize them to come back to the next tournament. You know? Similarly, it's important to incentivize these investors to invest in troubled areas, to help these communities build themselves back up. Ben Carson will be leading the council. He is currently Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. And Ben Carson, quick aside, he's one of those idiots that believes that being gay is a choice and you can essentially flip-flop your sexual orientation. And what he fails to realize is that that literally takes away basically any meaning the idea of sexual orientation ever had. Because if you can just flip-flop like that, then there is no sexual orientation. You're just making choices. But anyway, but he is pretty, I don't know what a neurologist is doing leading urban development. I'm not sure what that's about. But fewer regulations on the market and softer, the better. Smaller, less intrusive government is best for all of us. Here's the way I see it, alright? The marketplace is like a ring, and two corporations are like a couple of boxers going at it. Free market? Where's the ref? A totally free market, that's a boxing match without a referee. Sure, you can just put them on the honor system, assume that the boxers will obey the rules, but I guarantee you some of them simply won't. AKA monopolies and civil rights abusers. So that's what the government should be doing in the market. They should be a ref. Put some simple, unintrusive rules and then enforce them. You gonna be a monopoly? We gonna bust you up. You gonna be a monopoly? We gonna bust you up. You gonna go out and abuse people? You're not gonna pay your workers a fair fee. You're not gonna pay your workers a fair salary. You're not gonna, you're gonna abuse them and overwork them. Nope. We're gonna fine you for that shit. We're gonna levy heavy fines on your ass. And we're also going to encourage your employees to unionize. Right? That's what the government's role should be. The referee. Laws should not be there to supplant our values. They should be there to protect us from those who do not share them. And monopolies do not share the same moral values as non-monopolies. Obviously. But at the same time, you give the government too much power. A government powerful enough to give you everything you want is a government powerful enough to take it all away. So bottom line is, the government is a referee enforcing the rules, not a dictator. Moving on. The end of the American bully state? Senate moving to end U.S. involvement in Yemen. So the vote went from the vote got passed 60 to 39. 60 yes, 39 no. They will begin debating the resolution, and with great hope, the 60 who voted yes win the debate, and then we pull our asses out of Yemen. And if the resolution passes, Trump would essentially be forced to remove troops within 30 days, unless they were currently fighting Al-Qaeda. If they were in the middle of an operation against Al-Qaeda. Yemen is not our problem, okay? And we need to stay out of wars. We just seem to kind of make things worse. When was the last time you heard of a war hosted by the United States that actually ended with everyone happy? Can't think of one, can you? Neither can I. Because, you know what? America goes and does a little proxy war or fights a war in the Middle East. No one's happy. Except for the oil barons. That's a monopoly. No more proxy wars or wars for oil. It is time for the government to start busting up monopolies again. And bust up the oil monopoly. And bust up bigger monopolies like Amazon and Google. And if they won't, I say we boycott. Big boycott. Massive boycott. If the government won't be the ref they're supposed to be, we will. You want to keep the peace, Big G? You want to keep the peace, Uncle Sam? Then do your job. You want to be in charge of society? Then do it. Bottom line is no more proxy wars, no more wars for oil, end of the American bully state. Pronto. And just a case in point for those of you who are confused, I no longer ascribe to the libertarian ideology. The more I think about it, a free market is a bad idea. It's a boxing match without a ref. I do, however, think, though, that people need to learn to take care of themselves instead of being super dependent on the government. Healthcare is a service. For instance, healthcare is a service. Access to healthcare should be considered a human right under a person's right to survive. Access to healthcare. But healthcare itself is a service. And if you can't afford healthcare, well, then you don't have access to it, do you? So making healthcare more affordable, I agree. In fact, get rid of health insurance. Health insurance actually places arbitrary prices on things. An IV bag that costs $5 in Africa costs like $500 in America, but it's the exact same IV bag, does the exact same job. Eliminate health insurance and simply make it easier, give people an easier means to pay for their health care. Emphasizing the poor who can't afford it. Make it easier for the very poor to be able to more easily access health care, but without forcing a doctor to have to facilitate. Ease of access, but not, you know, guaranteed health care, just ease of access. The FCC recently approved a new text messaging rule allowing carriers to censor bot and scam messages. However, this could potentially lead to censorship. Remember what Thomas Jefferson said? A government powerful enough to give you everything you want is a government powerful enough to take it all away. Bottom line is, who says the government is going to stop at just censoring bot and scam messages? I realize that's a slippery slope fallacy, but it has merit. It has merit. Like, for example, I don't have anything against homosexuality. In fact, I think gay marriage is cool. I don't mind it. Go ahead and let the gays get married. But you have to acknowledge the principle, give them an inch and they go a mile. Because remember, shortly after that, people were wanting to include pedophilia into the LGBT thing. Right? So the slippery slope is real. It is a real thing. It does happen. Give them an inch, they go a mile. If you get them to censor bot and scam messages, guarantee you someone else in the California government will use that and want to go even further. You have opened the door. Censorship is a potential threat to your First Amendment rights. I know these messages are annoying, but censorship is not the answer. Nancy Pelosi will be leaving after another 4 years. A new contract keeps Democrats in the House restricted to three 2-year terms. However, if the caucus supports a Democratic leader staying, then they probably will. Meaning, yeah, they can leave, but you can caucus them back in. So Nancy Pelosi could leave after 4 years' time. But if they caucus to have Nancy Pelosi come back, and they might, so the contract conditional kind of makes it seem seems like a pretty weak contract idea if you ask me. Personally, I don't care about the Democrats anymore. Starve the beast. Stop voting Democrat. Because the Democratic Party has gone off the deep end. They would love to create tyrannical government at this point. They would absolutely love it. Judith Jones and Carolyn Kenyon, two very awesome old ladies who raised $12,500 and donated it to a charity for forgiving medical debt. This money was then used by that charity, which is called RIP Medical Debt, to forgive $1.5 million in medical debt. That's a great name, RIP Medical Debt. That appeals to my morbid sense of humor. I can't help it. I admit I have a problem, but I can't really help it. But $1.5 million, that's a hell of a Christmas present. And people say that people don't care enough, that charities don't work. Really? Then what was that just now? Huh? Charities don't work, huh? You have been proven wrong. At least for this one arbitrary example, your rule about charity not working does not apply to Miss Jones or to Miss Kenyon. These are two very awesome senior citizens who I think just made the day of like thousands, if not millions, of people. So, Carolyn and Judith, sweet old ladies, you guys are awesome. Israeli troops have killed 2 illegal Hamas gunmen near West Bank. Yeah, lately Israel's they just been cleaning house. You know, getting rid of Hamas and shit. Like, they found those secret tunnels. You know, Israel's enemies, I think. Israel's come a long way, and I think they're about to become very much impenetrable. I'm hoping that there comes a point where there is an equal amount of force from both sides brought to bear so that they can come to the negotiating table. Like if Israel and Palestine just talk it out, try to make some kind of agreement. But anyway, 4 states, Washington, California, New York, and New Mexico, are trying to stop the revival of U.S. coal due to environmental and public health concerns. Yes, coal production is harmful. Air pollution is a problem. It's a big problem. Like, I mean, think about the legendary smog in California, or the situation, and I think it was Beijing, where you can't even breathe the air. People have died just living in Beijing. And coal may not be the biggest air pollutant, but it is a solid air pollutant. I mean, part of its usage does end up developing into, like, you know, into an aerosolized form, and if you breathe that in, you basically get miner's lung. Which, legendarily, miner's lung is not totally dissimilar to COPD. So I can understand their concerns. I don't really know if the state has the right, if states' rights covers the ability to essentially stop the revival of an entire industry, but we should be moving towards clean energy, alright? We should be moving towards clean energy. We should institutionalize clean energy and make it a standard. But instead of, like, big solar factories, what we should do instead is we should have companies developing solar panels and then selling them to the people, which they can then purchase from the market. You know, straight up capitalist solution. And then the government in many areas will make solar panels illegal. I don't know why they do this. Why they won't just let people live off the grid. They have that right, but the government actively prevents it. In some areas, the government has become genuinely tyrannical. So, bottom line is, stopping the revival of U.S. coal is a great thing. We need to get that done, and we need to focus on institutionalizing clean energy. And for the final story of the Young Globalist today, Theresa May survives a no-confidence vote and promises to deliver Brexit. Yeah, right. How many times have Britain proposed Brexit and then almost immediately backed out of it? This is nothing new. Instead of taking the vote to Parliament, she instead just decides to go to an EU summit to gain concessions, and then this no-confidence vote comes out. Somehow people still are confident in Theresa May. Do the British want Brexit or not? Why the hell are they doing this ridiculous flip-flopping back and forth? Mind you, the United States should not be involved in the politics of other countries, but we should be free to offer criticism. I personally, as a private citizen, will gladly criticize this ridiculous flip-flopping. Just, you gonna Brexit or you're not gonna Brexit. Just tell it straight and do it. Anyway, that's it for the Young Globalists today, folks. I'm out.